Hello everyone and many blessings. This is Firechild with my first installment in the 2018 Pagan ABC Challenge. Starting off this first episode, we're going to talk a little bit about astral projection. It's sort of an interesting topic. I've read some about other people's experiences. I actually heard a story when I was in college. A gentleman told me about how whenever he was on a reservation and he was speaking to one of the elders of the tribe, and the elder told him a story about an heirloom, a precious family heirloom that belonged to one of the tribal members, and it went missing. And the elder decided that he would see if he could at least locate this particular item for this person so that they could retrieve it. He went to sleep with the intentions of finding this item, and as he slept, his astral form projected over a great distance and actually found this watch. And when he woke up, the watch was on his bedside table. So not only did he astral project, but in doing so, he was actually able to retrieve a physical item. Well, I've never actually seen this done. I believe that with the right amount of preparation and discipline, such things are possible. My own experiences with astral projection have been more in the frame of journeying for knowledge. During times of great personal upheaval, I find it helpful to journey to the astral realm in order to convene with spirits, guides, any benevolent beings I might encounter there. While they're not always benevolent, it's usually pretty easy for me to discern the ones that aren't. And another helpful thing is that my familiar rarely lets me do this by myself. There have been instances where I was meditating and accidentally astral projected, and it took a while for me to find my way back because I didn't realize that I had left in the first place. Ronnie was actually with me on one such occasion, and he told me that he actually had to sort of use himself as an anchor to draw me back. And I didn't think anything of it until he told me that my lips were turning blue. So it's pretty dangerous when you go out that far when you didn't have the intentions of traveling in the first place. But otherwise, astral projection has been very helpful in times of crisis when I felt myself besieged, or there were deep philosophical questions that I had trouble, that I was just struggling with. And sometimes when I come back, every once in a while, there will be a name that comes back with me. And I feel that usually these names are associated with some of the spirits that have provided guidance to me. They're names that I feel a strong personal affinity toward. And oddly enough, most of the names that kind of stick with me after my travels match my numerology, which is pretty ironic. I know that not everybody puts a whole lot of stock in numerology, but I feel that while it's not at the forefront of my interests, it's something that keeps coming back around coincidentally. So I'm becoming more and more aware of the fact that numerology may be something that is a personal interest of mine. But as far as astral projection goes, it's really interesting, although there can be some drawbacks. Being mostly of a fiery nature, I often I often have issues tethering myself because I've never had a strong connection to the earth element. So usually I have to meditate deeply before I attempt this, or I'll just sort of pop right out of my physical form and just go floating around, and you know, it's just something that can be kind of scary if it's not done in the proper way that you wish to achieve. So I've been trying to do this more purposefully as of late. And I feel that the more I do it purposefully, the more it helps me become a grounded individual, because I have to focus so much on the particular anchor that I choose for that experience. I find that that's kind of what's been helping me tether myself more to this physical existence, and it's made me less prone to accidental astral projection. I don't have the most experience out there, but most of the experience that I have had in the formative years of my awakening was accidental. So I can say that if you're sort of I hate for it to seem like a pun, but if you're a sort of flighty individual like I am, it can be dangerous, because there are malevolent forces out there that might attempt to take advantage of such a situation, you traveling unguarded and unaware. So if it's something that you haven't experienced and that you haven't any experience with, I would suggest seeking out one who does, because more likely than not, while they can't, there's no one formula for the perfect astral projection. Your purpose for doing so, like you yourself as an individual, is going to be intensely unique to you. So what works for other people may not work for you. I found that music helps me, having that rhythm that sort of mimics, I suppose you could equate it to the fact that as parents, we often play lullabies for our children to lull them to sleep. And I feel that it's sort of on that level for me. Whereas I know that I want to meditate, I want to focus on the question at hand. But sometimes in the waking world that's just difficult. There's so many distractions. So I often use music to sort of balance out my erratic state and just get myself on a level where I'm more calm and I can approach astral projection in the best way. And I know that some people, they may do other things to sort of get into a trance-like state. I've talked to a couple of people, they liked the Zen rock and sand gardens, drawing the patterns helps them get into that state. And like I said, it really depends upon the individual. So I would suggest finding someone who has a lot of experience, and while they can't tell you exactly what you should do, there's probably a lot of good advice they can give you on what to avoid as far as anything that can get you into trouble. And that's really all I have to say on the subject at the moment. I could go at length for days and days, but I think it's an interesting way to sort of open up a dialogue, because I'm sure that a lot of you listening have your own experiences, and we'd be very interested in hearing about some of the ways you've prepared for astral projection, some of the activities that you do to actually get yourself in that mental state, and maybe even some of your experiences while you've traveled that you feel are worth sharing. Please let us know. You know, you can send us messages on our Facebook page, or you can respond to us on YouTube. Just kind of, if you'd like, share some of your experiences with us and some of our other listeners, because to us, that sharing is what this whole process is about. We're all learning and we're all trying to achieve the end of growing in our walks of life. Well, thank you for your time, and I'll be back with my next installment for the bee in this series. Blessed be and safe travels.